Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Well, leading our news tonight, the man at the centre of a hotel quarantine breach in Hobart has spoken publicly for the first time. In an exclusive interview, Tim Gunn says he wants to get his side of the story across and seek forgiveness for being the sole reason southern Tasmania was plunged into a 3-day lockdown.
He's possibly the most hated man in Tasmania, and today Tim Gunn has chosen to speak out.
I would like to start by saying how terribly sorry I am to the state of Tasmania and the trouble I have caused.
After a week of questions surrounding how the 31-year-old managed to escape hotel quarantine and why he did it, Mr Gunn wants to clear a few things up.
I did not do this on purpose and definitely wasn't an act of selfishness or carelessness. I would hope that sometime soon Tasmania could find it in their heart to forgive me.
Speaking exclusively over the phone, he says he was living with his mum in Wodonga and relocating to Tasmania to live with his partner and her 6-year-old daughter. But when he arrived at the Hobart airport last Monday, Tim claims he didn't think he needed to enter hotel quarantine.
I rang public health and told them everything like I'm telling you now, like I had everything, my pass, everything like that, and they I produced a negative test before I left, and they said I did everything right and that I didn't need to quarantine.
He was then transported to the Travelodge Hotel in the city before he decided to walk out through his hotel room door, something the Department of Communities, who contracts Kevlar Security to manage quarantine in the south, doesn't dispute, adding extra precautions are now in place, with the number of security guards on site doubled and extra CCTV now installed.
Yeah, I was taken there, and then I was told I didn't have to quarantine, and of course I chose not to, and I didn't escape or anything like that, I just simply walked out.
Travelling to Bridgewater with his partner, spending 18 hours in the community, police eventually tracking him down when he tested positive for the Delta strain of COVID-19. What he didn't expect to happen next was a snap lockdown for 12 local government areas across the state's south. Public Health says Mr Gunn is entirely to blame for being uncooperative throughout their investigation.
I am sorry for all of this. Like I said, I did not plan for this to happen at all, and I'm not. I'm not that type of guy that just doesn't care. That'll just do that and go gallivanting around. Like I've got total remorse.
Tim still has a few days left of quarantine at the Fountainside Medi Hotel, but says he plans to live with his family in Tasmania once he's out. His future now lies in the hands of Tasmania Police, who may have him sent straight back to Wodonga or summons him to appear in court. Despite pleading ignorance, for the businesses, families and people all across southern Tasmania, the damage has already been done. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
One day out of lockdown, and southern Tasmania is adjusting to life under tough new restrictions, with schools, gyms and hairdressers among those required to mask up. The strict mandate is expected to ease on Friday, but health officials warn it could soon become the new reality.
No mask, no entry. The south of the state out of lockdown, now quickly getting used to the mandate.
Today's been a little bit weird, but also we're thankful to be reopened.
After a weekend of cancelled events, hairdressers are adapting to the new rules.
Asking when we're going around people's ears, for example, just to remove one of the earpieces.
Gym goers making up the lost time.
It was 6:30, we put classes on, and generally 6:30 of an evening is not a busy period, but we had 3 classes running and they filled up pretty well, so people were hanging out to get back into the gym.
Now happy to lift their weight.
And members have been really good. Obviously, if you're doing vigorous exercise, you can exercise with your mask off.
Students returning to school.
It's been a bit different because obviously we're not used to wearing masks at school.
Most of the people have been pretty good with wearing them properly.
With a sigh of relief from the community as COVID tests continue to return negative results.
I think everyone's really relieved. It could have been something that went on for many more weeks.
Another few days of masks will give us that extra level of comfort that we haven't got COVID spreading.
The mask rule is expected to ease at 6 p.m. on Friday, but health authorities say Tasmanians should be prepared for similar restrictions to be put in place in the future.
I think as we move through opening up the state over the next few months, we should get used to this being one of the restrictions that could be applied.
Now getting closer to finding out when our borders will reopen.
What we need to see now is a roadmap that provides certainty for what it looks like when we do open up.
An answer expected later this week. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
A large-scale search operation is underway on the northwest coast, desperately looking for 3 locals who failed to return after a boating trip yesterday. Sea and aerial rescue units have been deployed to find the friends who haven't been contacted for close to 30 hours. The search area is growing as time passes.
An anxious wait for family and friends as 3 loved ones are missing, feared lost at sea.
So around about 5:35 last night, yesterday evening, we received a call advising of an overdue vessel that had left the Wynyard boat ramp for a day trip and had not returned.
Isaiah Dixon, Thomas Corto and Brianna Thomas, 3 friends on board the Caribbean half-cab vessel, departed Wynyard at 10 a.m. yesterday, expecting to return by early afternoon. They couldn't be contacted after 2:30 p.m, causing concerned family members to contact police. At least one of the group, Isaiah Dixon, is an experienced boater with a current licence. The boat, belonging to Mr Dixon's father, is said to be in good condition with safety devices installed.
The waters were calm, starting to pick up around mid-afternoon.
Authorities searching the area between Rocky Cape and Devonport after the vessel was last spotted at Boat Harbour.
Tasmania Police had 2 local vessels on the water, and they were assisted by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority in providing some air assets for us to utilise, and they came from Victoria, which were most helpful.
Rescue planes and helicopters flown in from Melbourne to survey the area from above. Aiding the efforts, friends and Good Samaritans hitting the water themselves. Southeasterly winds on the coast picked up to 20 knots by lunchtime. Choppy conditions hampering the search on the water.
It's obviously a very difficult time for the family members with their loved ones missing, but as I mentioned before, we're putting all our efforts into trying to locate these 3 persons on board safely.
Our reporter Josh Duggan joins us now from the Wynyard foreshore. Josh, is the search set to continue through the night?
Kim, police are keeping their options open at the moment. They've said a decision based on weather. But last night they were able to keep the rescue planes up in the air all night long, so it seems, if they can, they will. For the search area now totals 1,400 kilometres as of this afternoon, an area that's growing by the hour. Of course, the entire town of Wynyard is hanging on every update. Family and friends banding together at the wharf, hoping they'll receive some good news. I imagine it's going to be a very, very long night for them. Kim?
As we all await that good news. Thank you very much, Josh. Well, Tasmanians lucky enough to secure a travel voucher now have another week to claim them after the Tasmanian government extended the scheme until November 7. The initiative now extends its offer to interstate travellers from South Australia, WA and Queensland, offering up to $300 towards the cost of a holiday. The offer for interstate travellers extended until December 31. Tasmania's Kiwi connection is steaming ahead with the release of a draft strategy to boost trade with New Zealand. Local products such as Tasmanian whisky are being pushed as part of the plan, along with the state's mineral exports as the world tries to reduce carbon emissions.
There's 4 times more copper in an electric car than there is in a conventional car. So as the world wants to go to a decarbonised world, it needs new technologies and new products, and it needs critical minerals. It needs minerals that come from Tasmania.
We're a new world whisky. They have traditional whiskies from other regions around the world, so I think they will identify with a new area, a new whisky producing region.
Tasmania exports more than $100 million worth of product to New Zealand each year. Tasmanian students have staged a climate change protest. The group marched through Launceston demanding net zero emissions by 2030 and no new coal or gas projects. Organisers are defending students who skip class to stage the protest.
People say to us that, oh, you shouldn't skip school because you need to get an education and become a climate scientist and fix it if you really care about it. But the thing that we actually learn in school is the science about climate change, and is that we actually have a lot of the solutions now.
Protesters are also calling for retraining programs for coal and gas workers to enter other industries. The Hobart City Council has launched Anti-Poverty Week with a small ceremony. Hobart resident Angela Finch is a single parent after she was forced to flee with her children due to domestic violence. She's sharing her story of living in poverty to help bring awareness.
Your 8-year-old daughter starts checking herself when she asks for something that children ask for because she knows our situation, not because anyone sat down and explained poverty to her. It's heartbreaking.
The focus of this year's Anti-Poverty Week is raising the level of income support and investing in social housing.
The Hobart Hurricanes have hit the winners list in the Women's Big Bash in emphatic style, taking the shine off the Melbourne Stars in a 63-run victory. Rachel Priest saved the Canes with the bat before 18-year-old left her opposition red-faced. Meg Lanning had her eye in right from the bat flip, somehow making it land on its side, but there were no mysteries about Rachel Priest.
Rachel Priest just dealing in boundaries at the start of this match.
Our Kiwi captain stood tall, but her teammates couldn't toe the same line.
Oh, just like a tightrope walker on the boundary line.
Reflexes were just as good when dispatching Mignon Dupria, and when Rika Gosh skied another ball, it seemed the stars were aligning.
There's an opportunity for it to be taken, and that is the third absolutely blinding catch.
At 3 for 39, the top order had sinned, except for Priest, who looked like a saint.
Oh, they all sound nice when she finds the middle of the bat.
There was strangely no sound where Nicola Carey was caught.
And it's she's gone. Most coolest, calmest reaction from everyone on the field I've ever seen.
Priest mopped up the innings with 107 not out, and the defence started just as sweetly. Elise Villani gone for a duck.
And gets herself all caught up.
1 for none, became 2 for 3. The Stars were going to ground.
From the boundary line in Molly Stranos.
The kids had reason to celebrate as the Hurricanes unravelled the Stars.
And that is an absolute peach by Amy Smith.
Second gamer Ruth Johnston had sensational figures of 4 for 8, including the scalp of Lanning and the icing on a purple cake.
Oh, bowled up, gets her 4th wicket.
The Hurricanes bowling out the Stars for just 89 runs. Rain in Perth delayed the start to day 3 of the Sheffield Shield match between Tasmania and Western Australia. Overnight, Bo Webster hit an unbeaten half-century to see Tasmania pass WA's total. The Tigers lost their last 4 wickets for just 5 runs to finish on 252. Cameron Bancroft went for 12. WA is at 1 for 73.
Good evening. Hobart's 12 degrees was 5 below average for this time of year and pretty chilly. Launceston and Burnie 16, Devonport 17 today. The top was 18 at Low Head. Mount Wellington the low with -3. Strawn 17 degrees, King Island 16, Flinders Island, Friendly Beaches and Bushy Park 15, St Helens 14 today and Grove 13. There was mid to low level cloud covering the east and southeast, mostly clear elsewhere ahead of a bit of a build-up developing over the west and northwest late in the day. More mid to low cloud over parts of Victoria, cloud with embedded thunderstorms over eastern New South Wales and Queensland, another band crossing into WA. Tomorrow the high moves to our southeast, producing a northeasterly flow. Several troughs sit over the north of the country. East and northeasterly winds tomorrow at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the northwest, swells at 1 to 2 metres. Strong wind warning, that's from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point and from Sandy Cape to Stanley. We also have a minor flood warning for the South Esk and Macquarie Rivers, a frost warning for the central North, Midlands and Upper Derwent Valley. Another cool night this evening, partly cloudy for Hobart, 5 to 17 the range. 2 overnight for Geeston, a sunny afternoon and 17 the top, 17 also the high for Bothwell. 18 for Launceston and early frost, mostly sunny for Devonport, 16 the top and 17 the high for Cressy. Burnie looking for 15, sunny day in the northwest, Strawn fine at 19 degrees, Curry on King Island becoming windy, partly cloudy, 15 for St Helens, partly cloudy as well for Swansea, 15 the top and also 15 for Orford. UV peaking at 7 over the northwest in the high range. On Thursday, mainly fine and partly cloudy, apart from a shower over the north and upper east coast. Showers extending statewide on Friday, not much reaching the southeast, winds turning westerly later. And on Saturday, showers across all reporting districts as the winds turn more southwesterly. Showers further north for Perth tomorrow, partly cloudy over Adelaide, a sunny afternoon in Melbourne, showers for Sydney and Brisbane. And the cloud is hanging on. 10 degrees right now in Hobart, 13 in Launceston, Devonport 13 degrees. Can't believe it, Kim. Snow on the mountain, single-digit temperatures overnight, frost warnings and only 6 weeks to summer. Obviously, Mother Nature does not read the calendar.
And you obviously don't read the roster, Murph. Where have you been? Good that you've actually turned up for a change. That's all we have time for tonight. As always, thanks for joining us. Good night.